Okay, and I'll sing it down, I'll slow it down a little bit, but this is gonna compensate for the majority of the song. Late in the evening, child, I know, feel like blowing my lonesome home, but I don't find my baby now, for my little easy gone. Relatively simple and easy. So he plays that 4 times in a row. And I'll play that here 4 times in a row. And that is a majority of the song right there. And once you get that repetition down, you'll become better with fluidity. So moving on, he goes into this 4-chord position, and this is the portion of the song that goes like this. That's what we're going to talk about here. So after he does this, after he plays that 4th string open, what you're going to do is you're going to find the 5th string on the 4th fret. 5th string on the 4th fret, you're going to slide. 5th string, 4th fret with the slide, and then you're gonna play bar the 5th fret with the slide from the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings down. So your slide is gonna cover all those bottom 4 strings, and you're gonna ring out this slide like this. And that's what it's going to sound like. So you're going from you're going to pluck on the 5th string, 4th fret, and you're going to slide into the 5th fret and barring everything, and play a full bar on it with the slide. And you want to dabble up and down the 5th fret. That's what he's doing in that little break. Been down a bang bang, it'll be like my lonesome home. Alright, we'll get a little bit there, over there. So he plays that sequence 3 times. The first time is longer than the next 2 sequences, so I'll play those pieces exactly. First, I'll explain again. It's really you're plucking twice here. The 4th fret, 5th string, and then the bar on the 5th fret from the 4th string. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And how it sounds in the song is like this. Feel like my lonesome home. Alright, so relatively simple. He plays this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4. He plays that sequence 3 times, and that's available to you on the tablature. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So after he plays this sequence, he waits a little, and then he's going to play a really tricky sequence like this. This is very typical Son House and Robert Johnson, but he does this walking blues lick. that's what we're going to talk about here. So this sequence, which sounds like this, it's a sequence of 5 notes in all. So what you're going to do, that first note is going to be in the top string, 3rd fret. And then your second note is going to be the 5th and 4th strings, but you're actually going to dead thumb them. You're going to palm mute them. You're not going to actually ring them out. So on the tablature they appear as X's. You don't want those to ring out, right? So the first 2 notes will be like this. 1. This will be able to be rung out, but the next note you want to do a palm mute, and that means muffling the strings. And it's a little bit tricky, but the palm muting requires for your palm to just basically muffle the strings. It's more like a hitting motion. 1, 2. So those are the first 2 notes, and then the next 2 notes, the 3rd note in that sequence, you're going to find the 4th and 3rd strings on the 3rd fret, and you're going to play those. You're going to bar them with your index finger, and then you're just going to play with the thumb the 3rd and 4th strings. And then the 4th note is going to be another palm muting dead thumb on the 3rd and 2nd strings open. And that's going to sound like this. I'm dead thumbing it. Alright? So the first 4 notes will sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I ring this out, muffle, ring, muffle. And then eventually you get it playing into rhythm. Try to do that, gradually work your pace. So the 5th note to cap off this lick is going to be just a slide on the bottom string on the 5th fret, and you're just going to gracefully toggle this. You're going to let that thing ring to cap off that lick. So it'll be like this. And I'll go a little bit slower. And you want to make sure that you let that ring out on the 5th fret, bottom string. So he plays that portion twice. So together it would be like this. With this portion, which I talked about, namely, I'm just, you see where my thumb is? When I let that ring out, I'm playing the 4th string. 4th and 3rd strings are striked, and then you're, with the slide, you're really emphasizing sliding in that vicinity. The 3rd and the 4th strings are emphasized on that bar. So when we talked about this portion, I feel like on my lonesome home. I feel like my lonesome home. Now I'm gonna go a lot slower, so it'll be like this. Feel like the motion, baby. I feel like my lonesome home. that's laid out for you in the tablature. A little bit tricky, but once again, you'll get a hang of it. So after that, he plays this twice, and after that he goes, now, if I don't find my baby now, you'll have to bury me. Well, feel like ocean running into the sea. If I don't find my baby, somebody have to. Alright, getting ahead of myself here, but we're going to talk about this portion. And that's the portion that we're going to talk about here. So after this, after he plays that, he does this, he sings, and it's like a great a dead note. There's no music being played. He goes, now, if I know for my baby now, you know, have to bear me. And that's what we're going to put into focus here. And let me change the paper here. Alright. So if you have your second page on your tablature, this portion we talked about. Now, if I don't find my baby now, you know somebody have to bear me. That's what it leads into. Got ahead of myself there, but here we go. After this portion, he stops and he goes, well, and what you're gonna do, the start of this second page on the tablature, you're going to play the 5th fret, 5th string with the slide, and you're going to slide into the 7th fret this time, and you're going to pluck for the second note, the 7th fret, 4th string. So it'll be 2 notes in all. 1, 2. And you're going to be playing from the 4th and sort of the 3rd strings. So again, you identify the 5th string on the 5th fret, and you slide all the way to the 7th fret, and you're playing the 4th string on the 7th fret. And you're emphasizing in this vicinity the 4th and 3rd strings with the slide, and you play that twice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch what I'm doing with my thumb. So going back to this. Now, if I don't find my baby now, well, if I don't find my baby now, that's where he sings it. If I don't find my baby now, if I don't find my baby now, if I don't find my baby now. And then he does the same sequence, but this time on the 3rd and 5th fret in the next succession. You know, someone gonna have to bury me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for that next portion, he's going in the 3rd fret, 5th string, and into the 5th fret, fourth string. If I don't find my baby now, somebody gonna have to bury me. Very simple and very easy. So going back to the 7th fret, it'll be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in this song, you want to ring with the slide, soft tension, and you want to really, like, you know, dabble back and forth above the fret to really let it ring out, get that real delta sound. So we covered this 5, 6, 7, 8, and then what he does is he goes to the 3rd fret and he just plays from the 5th and 4th strings on the 3rd fret with the slide, strums once, and then open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. And you're just playing that 3rd fret, 5th and 4th strings, and then the 5th and 4th strings open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then he does this portion, which is going to be a little bit tricky, and it's going to sound like this. And it's done really fast. So again, it's like going back to the introduction. You're finding this descent again. Remember, it starts on the 3rd fret, 4th string, or a 4th string on the 3rd fret, and then the 2nd fret. He's recycling ideas here, but in this instance, he plays it really fast. So he plays you're gonna have 4 notes, and the first note is gonna be the 4th string on the 3rd fret. You're gonna play that with your thumb, and then you're gonna do this really fast open strums. It's gonna be a triplet of open strums. It will be like this. 1, 2, 3. And all together sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now try to do it like that, in that speed. Want to go and descent up the neck board like he's been doing. He's being recycling same ideas. 3. Again, it's the same box, except he's sliding up the neck board. So now he's on the 4th string, 2nd fret. Then to the 1st fret, 4th string. And then he ends on the 4th string open. So in all, it'll be like this. It's going to be 12 notes. And starting from this 3rd fret, 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you play the 4th string open. And then after he plays this 4th string open, he plays this lick again, which we talked talked about in the introduction and what comes in the verse. So all together it will sound like this. If I don't find my baby now, somebody gonna have to bury me. You know, it's almost like you're playing this, when you play this, it's almost like you're playing it together. This is the transition from playing this isolated bass note into the strums is there's a tiny short time. So it's done, it almost blends together. So you have this. You'll listen to it in the original recording how he does that, but at least you have the concept of what's going on here. And so he caps off this after this. Now feeling like ocean running into the sea. If I don't find my baby, somebody have to bury me. Ocean man, and down into the sea. Yeah, if I don't find baby now, somebody gonna have to bury me. Well, I feel like ocean, and you go back to coda. And so he repeats the process, you know, he repeats the process 4 times. So we've gone over the introduction and we've gone over the core elements of the verse. And again, he keeps recycling the same themes over and over again. All you gotta do is develop the ear when you listen to the original recording. And you know, it's a relatively simple song. The concepts that need to be beaten in are this: the emphasis on the slide is going to give you the accent that is necessary. That's so associated with this song as well. It makes it that delta sound. So we're gonna play from the introduction to the lead up to the instrumental break, which I'm gonna cover here in the next segment. So starting from the beginning, it's gonna all gel together like this. Well, went to the ocean running into the sea. If I don't find my baby, someone have to bury me. Went to the ocean and down into the sea. Well, if I don't find my baby now, somebody gonna have to bury me. Know my long-term home, and I got up this morning, find my little bunny's gone. Woke up this morning, bang bang, I feel like my long-term home. Well, if I don't find my baby now, somebody gonna have to bury me. Alright, play my thing. That's what we're going to talk about here in the is the instrumental break to come. So we've talked about the majority of the song in general, and now we're going to talk about the instrumental break, which is really what makes the song so special. So please locate that on the tablature, and we'll go over that here shortly. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the instrumental break that appears in the song. This is a really cool yet intricate little piece, and I'm going to play a little bit of it here. I'm going to play it from the beginning to the front, so it's going to sound like this. Go ahead and play it on thing. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about that break in particular. I have it tabbed out. I have the main emphasis tabbed out in the instrumental break, so it's a little bit tricky to transpose that. So I'm going to talk about it individually. As far as the playing this instrumental break, the positioning of the right hand is going to play a huge role in how you play that. Ultimately, you're going to be fretting over the 12th fret, and your index finger is going to basically be playing. Your index finger is going to be playing, commanding all of the notes that are taking place in this sequence. So that's going to be important. Remember the positioning of the right hand, which I talked about earlier. The index finger is going to play a strong role here. So what we're going to do now is, in leading up to the instrumental break, the transition into it sounds like this. Play on that thing, boy. He automatically slides, you know, from this kind of vicinity, from the 10th fret into the 12th fret. It's this slide sequence. And you're going to be focusing on namely the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings on the 12th fret only. And your index finger is going to be playing these. You're going to be going in the vicinity of the 11th and 12th fret, like namely in between, and you're going back and forth with a slide. So let's just try that now. 1, 2, 3, and your index finger is going to be sliding, picking upwards. You know, let's just try that just to get familiar with things. It's good to get practice. And again, the slide is not pressing hard, it's just lightly dabbling on the neck. So we got that sequence down. So this first portion, he begins on the 11th fret, and he's sliding into the 12th fret, and he's doing this motion, going from the 11th to the 12th fret, back and forth. So he does a sequence. It's like a sequence of 4 notes. The first note is going to be on the 11th fret. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings will be plucked by the index. You got the slide on the 11th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.